Good morning, History of Sexuality students. This is Professor Bowen here with my comments on the first quiz of the semester. Just wanted to say a few things in case you're wondering why you lost some points on either of the two quiz questions. I'll make this pretty brief. On the first question, most everyone gave a really nice explanation of David Halpern's theories regarding what sexuality is, and also why he thinks that the history of sexuality does not stretch back as far as ancient Greece. The question that I asked, however, was specifically about sexual orientation and his argument about the non-existence of sexual orientation in ancient Greece. Some of you focused more on his general points about sexuality than the specifics of sexual orientation, which are different but related things. So if you lost points on the quiz, it might have been because you focused more on sexuality than sexual orientation specifically. Another thing that I noticed is that some of us didn't discuss a particular example or piece of evidence that Halpern puts forward in order to support or illustrate his argument about the non-existence of sexual orientation in ancient Greece. There are really three key pieces of evidence that he discusses throughout the article. One of them being the example of the marriage contract from Hellenistic Egypt, in which the husband is forbidden either from having another wife or from bringing a boy lover into the house. The second example that he talks about is the speech made in the 1st century by the writer Dio Chrysostom. That's the moralizer who argued that as sex with women became less desirable, people gravitated toward boys. The third example Halpern gives is the 5th century Latin text De Morbis Chronicus, in which the author Caelius Aurelianus explains that men who wanted to be penetrated by other men, he calls them mals or malthakoi as they were known in Greek, were suffering from the condition known as satyriasis. He complains against the admittance of young women and boys into the homes of people suffering from this condition, which again for Halpern is a way of saying that gender didn't factor into people's sexual likes or dislikes, and as such, there was no such thing as sexual orientation in ancient Greece. Okay, so that's everything I wanted to say about the first quiz question. On the second one, again, responses were generally quite good. If you lost points, it's probably because your discussion wasn't sufficiently historiographical. When talking about historiographical matters, we need to keep our focus on actual historians, not geneticists like Bailey and Pillard or sex researchers like Alfred Kinsey, but historians, people like Henry Spencer Ashby, John Simmons, Yvonne Bloch, Michel Foucault, David Halpern, Kathy Pice, etc. As I also indicated in the question, to receive full credit, you needed to talk about historians' methods, their questions, their approaches, their aims, their audiences, etc. So here I was looking for things like discussions about the shift from essentialism to constructionism in historical scholarship. You could have also talked about the persistent focus on homosexuality if you wanted to make an argument about continuity. You could have also talked about how in the beginning a lot of the scholarship was rooted in activism, whereas today there's more of an emphasis on integrating the history of sexuality into other more traditional topics, which means that historians' audiences have shifted somewhat from the lay public or from sexual minorities to other academic historians. Those are some examples of things I was looking for a response to the second quiz question. All right, so that I think covers the main issues with the quiz as I saw them. I also gave each of you individualized feedback, so if you go into Moodle and open the quiz, you can see some personal remarks that I left for you. If you have questions about your grade, about my comments, feel free to get in touch with me however works best for you. And I look forward to continuing our discussions in week 3. So I'll see you all in our virtual classroom soon. Bye-bye. Thanks.